Have you ever looked into the eyes of someone you love, someone over 70, and quietly asked yourself, how much time do we really have left together? Not because you're morbid, not because you're afraid, but because you care. Because somewhere in your gut, you've noticed a small shift, a change in how they walk, how they speak, how they smile, and you wonder if it means something more. Maybe it's your dad who used to tinker in the garage but now seems tired just getting out of bed. Maybe it's your grandmother, who hasn't laughed quite the same since last Christmas. Or maybe it's you. Maybe you've started noticing things in yourself that weren't there before, and deep down, you're wondering, what's happening to me? Let's be real, aging is full of unknowns. And sometimes, it's the quietest signs that speak the loudest. The ones we brush off as just getting older. The little things no one talks about, until it's too late. But what if I told you that science has been watching? That researchers across the world, over decades, have uncovered 7 powerful signs that may actually help predict how long someone lives after the age of 70? Not guesses. Not old wives' tales. But data-backed, medically observed signs that have shown up again and again in the lives of aging people, signs that can give you a clearer picture of what's ahead. And no, it's not just about disease or diagnosis. It's about behavior, mindset, little shifts in daily life, and how they can quietly predict what's next. Some of these signs might surprise you. Some might hit close to home. And one of them, especially sign number 6, is often completely ignored, even though it may be one of the most revealing. So, if you care about aging well, if you love someone who's getting older, or if you're simply trying to make sense of what the future might look like for your own body and mind, then this video is for you. Stay with me, because what you'll learn today might change how you care, how you prepare, and how you live. And hey, before we dive in, drop a comment below and say, I'm here, if you're watching this for yourself or someone you love. And don't forget to hit subscribe to join our community here at Elderly Wisdom Guide, a place where aging is never feared, never ignored, but deeply understood. Let's begin. Sign number 1, grip strength weakening rapidly. Let me tell you about Bill. Bill's 74, a retired postal worker from a small town in Ohio. Spent most of his life walking routes, lifting mailbags, hauling boxes. Strong hands. Calloused fingers. The kind of grip that made you feel safe when he shook your hand. But last Thanksgiving, something shifted. He went to open a jar of pickles for his granddaughter, nothing fancy, just like he's done 100 times before, and he couldn't do it. Not even a budge. He laughed it off at first, blamed it on old man hands, or maybe that the lid was screwed on too tight. But inside, it shook him. Because deep down, he knew something had changed. Now here's what science says, and this might surprise you. Your grip strength isn't just about how strong your hands are. It's actually a window into the overall health of your muscles, your nervous system, and even your heart. According to research published in The Lancet and several geriatric studies, people with significantly declining grip strength after 70 are at a much higher risk of early death, not because of their hands, but because their whole body is quietly losing resilience. It's like your muscles are whispering, we're starting to let go. And here's where most families go wrong. They shrug it off. Grandpa's just getting older, they say. He's not supposed to be opening jars anymore. But it's not about the jars. It's not about age. It's about paying attention to when something changes, how fast it changes, and what else might be fading behind the scenes. Now, the good news? There are things you can do. And no, I'm not talking about weightlifting or going to the gym. Simple hand exercises, like squeezing a soft ball, using therapy putty, or practicing grip tools for just 5 to 10 minutes a day, can slow that decline. It's not about building strength like you're 30 again. It's about holding on to what you've got. Keeping the muscles alive. Reminding the body, hey, we're still here. But grip isn't the only thing that slips quietly. Sometimes, the signs aren't in the hands, but in the feet. And it's what happens when every step becomes slower than the one before. Sign number 2, walking speed slows down noticeably. Now, picture Mary. Mary's 76, a former dance instructor from Savannah, Georgia. Her feet used to glide across hardwood floors like they had wings. Graceful. Light. Alive. She taught generations how to waltz, how to find rhythm in their step, how to feel the music in their bones. Even after retirement, she kept moving. 2 walks a day with her little terrier, Milo, rain or shine. But now? Getting to the mailbox feels like crossing a football field. Her steps are smaller. Slower. Less confident. She says it's just tired legs. Or that she's being cautious. But something deeper might be happening. You see, walking speed, or what doctors call gait speed, isn't just about muscle or energy. It's a silent measurement of how the body is integrating everything: your heart, your lungs, your brain, your nerves. When gait speed slows dramatically after 70, research from the Journal of Gerontology shows a strong link to shorter life expectancy. Why? Because the body is like a team. If one part weakens, like the heart pumping blood slower, or the brain reacting slower, it shows up in the feet. Each step becomes a negotiation between willpower and weariness. Now, here's where families often miss the mark. They say things like, "She's just being careful," or "He's taking his time, that's all." But that slow shuffle across the room? That long pause before getting up from a chair? It could be one of the body's earliest cries for help. And no, it doesn't mean you need to sign up for marathons. But what you can do is this: encourage short, consistent walks. Even just around the house. Set a timer. Measure small progress. Clarity comes from patterns, not guesses. Because sometimes, it's not about speed. It's about paying attention to when someone stops moving with joy, and starts moving with fear. And speaking of joy, that brings us to a sign that's not physical at all. It's invisible, but powerful. It's what happens when someone you love starts pulling away, emotionally. Sign number 3, social withdrawal or loss of interest in relationships. Now, imagine Frank. Frank's 81. Lives alone in a quiet neighborhood in Florida. He used to be the one bringing extra donuts to the church meeting. The first to show up, the last to leave. Always telling a joke, always asking about your grandkids, even if he couldn't remember their names. But now? The phone rings, and he lets it go. Invitations go unopened. Birthdays missed. Church? He hasn't been in months. His family thinks maybe he just wants peace. Or that he's grieving his late wife. But here's what they're not seeing. Social withdrawal, especially sudden or deepening after 70, isn't just about mood. According to research from the National Institute on Aging, social isolation is as damaging to your health as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. It raises inflammation. It weakens the immune system. It drains mental sharpness. And it shortens lifespan, dramatically. You might assume someone wants to be left alone. But in truth, they may be drowning in quiet sadness. They may be confused and embarrassed by their memory loss. They may not have the energy to pretend they're okay anymore. And here's the key: don't overwhelm them with big plans. Start small. A check-in call. A cup of coffee on the porch. A handwritten note. Remind them they're still wanted. Still seen. Still loved. Because when the heart starts pulling away from people, sometimes the body follows close behind. But we're not done. Next, we shift from the heart to the stomach. Because the next sign shows up not in what someone says or does, but in what they stop eating altogether. Sign number 4, unexplained weight loss or loss of appetite. Let's talk about Linda. She's 79, from sunny California. For years, her kitchen smelled like warm cinnamon and fresh baked cookies. Saturday mornings were sacred, baking day with her grandkids. Flour on the counter, chocolate chips in the batter, laughter in the air. But lately, something's changed. The cookies sit untouched. Her favorite banana bread gets thrown out, half-eaten. She picks at her plate during dinner and says she's just not hungry. A few pounds drop, then a few more. Her clothes hang looser. Her wedding ring slips off too easily. At first, the family thinks, maybe she's just not in the mood to eat, or she's probably being careful with her diet. But here's the thing, after 70, unintentional weight loss is not normal. It's not just aging. It's not just being picky. According to multiple clinical studies, unexplained weight loss in older adults can be a red flag, a quiet warning that something more serious might be going on beneath the surface. It could signal cancer, undiagnosed digestive problems, thyroid issues, or that the body is slowly scaling down, shutting off systems it no longer prioritizes as energy reserves thin out. And here's where many families make a painful mistake. They wait. They assume it'll come back. They try to tempt with favorite meals, mac and cheese, pancakes, ice cream. But nothing works. Because the problem isn't taste, it's the body saying, I can't process this the way I used to. So, what can you do? Don't push full meals. That often overwhelms. Instead, think small, calorie-rich snacks, a spoonful of peanut butter, a slice of avocado, a protein-packed smoothie with Greek yogurt and honey. Offer food gently, without pressure. And most importantly, talk to a doctor. Don't wait for the scale to shout what the body has been whispering for weeks. Because when someone stops eating, it's not just about food, it's about function. But now, we shift into territory even more fragile. A sign that's hard to see. Easy to excuse. But incredibly important. It's what happens when the mind starts to slip away from us. Sign number 5, cognitive slowdown or sudden forgetfulness. Meet George. George is 82. He taught high school history for 40 years in upstate New York. Sharp as a tack. Knew every U.S. president and could recite the Gettysburg Address from memory, word for word. But lately, his daughter noticed things. He called her 3 times in the same morning, forgetting each conversation. He got lost driving home from the grocery store, a route he's taken for 30 years. He stood in the kitchen holding a cup of coffee, staring blankly, trying to remember what he came in for. He laughed it off. Said, just having a senior moment. But those moments started stacking up. Faster. Heavier. Now here's the truth, a little forgetfulness is part of aging, yes. Misplacing your glasses, forgetting a name occasionally, that's normal. But sudden or progressive cognitive changes? That's a different story. It could be early Alzheimer's. It could be a series of tiny strokes. It could even be a side effect of certain medications older adults are on. And according to the National Institutes of Health, noticeable cognitive decline is closely tied to shorter life expectancy, not just because of the memory loss itself, but because of what it does to decision-making, safety, and daily function. Here's what families often do wrong, they wave it off. They say, he's just old. But no, your loved one doesn't just stop knowing your name overnight. That's not just age. That's decline, and it needs to be addressed. So, what can help? Simple brain games are great, crossword puzzles, trivia, memory apps. But so is conversation. Music. Laughter. Routine. A colorful diet rich in omega-3s, vitamin D, and B12. Even sunlight helps. And gentle stimulation, like telling stories, listening to jazz, or flipping through old photo albums. Because the brain, just like the muscles, needs use to stay alive. But what if I told you that the next sign might show up even before memory slips? Before appetite fades? Before the body shows any clear warning at all? What if it comes down to something as invisible as your sense of purpose? Let's turn inward for a moment, and talk about sign number 6, loss of sense of purpose or hopelessness. Let's talk about Clara. Clara is 78. She spent most of her life as a school librarian in Denver. A soft voice, warm smile, and a talent for remembering every student's name. She loved being around kids. She loved being needed. She loved being seen. But these days, Clara sits by the window for hours. The books are untouched. The phone barely rings. Her husband passed 3 years ago. Most of her friends are gone now. And one afternoon, as her daughter poured her some tea, Clara said something that stopped time. "I don't know why I'm still here." Not out of anger. Not even out of sadness. Just emptiness. Like her role in the world had been quietly erased. And here's what many people don't realize. Aging without a sense of purpose can be just as harmful to health as a disease. Research published in Psychological Science found that seniors with a strong reason to get up in the morning, whether it's volunteering, helping family, tending a garden, or telling stories, live an average of 7 years longer, regardless of their physical condition. Because humans aren't just bodies. We're souls. We're spirits. We need meaning. Without that spark, everything else, appetite, memory, movement, begins to dim. And yet, here's where society often fails older adults. We say, they've done enough. We say, let them rest. But what if they don't want to rest? What if what they really want is to matter? It doesn't take much to reignite a sense of purpose. Ask them to tell their stories. Let them pass on recipes, family history, life advice. Encourage mentoring, even if it's just a weekly chat with a teenager or a young neighbor. Start a small garden. Help them teach a skill online or at the community center. Let them feel useful again. Let them feel human. Because when someone stops feeling valuable, their will to live quietly begins to slip away. And now, we come to the final sign. One of the clearest, and often the most alarming. The body begins to fight more often, and recover less. Sign number 7, frequent hospitalizations or infections. Now let me introduce you to Tom. Tom is 82. A retired mechanic from Chicago. Tough guy. Lived through war, hardship, raising 3 kids on a tight budget. The kind of man who never went to the doctor unless something was falling off. But over the last 6 months, something changed. First it was a urinary tract infection, an overnight trip to the ER. Then it was pneumonia. Then a strange fever. Then another fall that landed him in the hospital again. Each time, he got a little weaker. Each time, he took a little longer to bounce back. And each time, his family thought, we just need to get him through this one. But what they didn't realize was this: it wasn't just bad luck. It was a pattern. When the immune system weakens with age, especially after 70, it begins to struggle with even the most basic threats. Infections become more frequent. Healing slows. The body starts signaling that it's nearing a tipping point. And yet, here's where families often misread the signs. They treat each hospital visit like a separate event. They scramble to fix the now, without looking at the trend. But if someone over 70 is in and out of the ER multiple times in a short span, it's time to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. What can you do? First, start tracking. Write down the dates. Note how long it takes to recover. Second, talk to the doctor about patterns. About long-term care. About whether the focus should shift from aggressive treatment to comfort. And third, support the immune system in small but steady ways. Better nutrition, gentle movement, emotional connection, and clean environments. Because sometimes, when the body starts to fight too often, it's telling us it's tired. And as hard as that is to face, awareness is not fear. It's preparation. It's grace. It's love. Now, before we bring this all together, take a moment. Think of someone you love. Think of yourself. And ask, have you seen any of these signs? If so, keep listening. Because this next part, this is where we talk about the heart. The courage. And the strength it takes to face it all. It's heartbreaking, isn't it? To watch someone you love, someone who once carried you, guided you, made you laugh, begin to change in small, quiet ways. Not overnight. Not loudly. But slowly. Subtly. Silently. They walk a little slower. Speak a little less. Eat a little lighter. And suddenly, they don't seem like the person you knew. And the hardest part? These signs creep in so gently, you don't even realize what's happening, until one day, you do. And by then, for some, it feels like the clock has already moved too far forward. But here's what I want you to remember, knowing these signs isn't about being afraid. It's not about bracing for the worst or living in dread. It's about paying attention. It's about showing up while there's still time. Because knowledge isn't fear, it's power. It's the power to sit down with your mother and say, I noticed you're not eating much, how can I help? It's the strength to say to your father, you seem tired lately. Want to take a walk with me? It's the courage to say, you matter. You still have purpose. And I'm not going anywhere. Look around your life. At your parents. At your grandparents. At your neighbor who lives alone. At your friend from church who hasn't been around much lately. Or maybe, just maybe, look at yourself. Because recognizing these signs, whether in others or in your own body, isn't the end. It's the beginning of action. It's the moment where fear turns into love. Where silence becomes conversation. And where waiting becomes doing. And here's what I want you to hold on to, aging is not about fading away. It's about embracing every single day that's left with intention, with gratitude, and with a fierce kind of gentleness. It's about making space for meaning, even in the quietest hours. It's about love that deepens as the years stretch longer. Old age isn't about counting down. It's about showing up. It's about connecting. It's about living fully, right here, right now, in whatever time is left. And that is a beautiful, powerful, sacred thing. So, let's recap. Here are the 7 signs that may offer a glimpse, scientifically, emotionally, and practically, into how long someone might live after 70. 1. Grip strength weakening rapidly. 2. Walking speed slowing down. 3. Social withdrawal or loss of interest in relationships. 4. Unexplained weight loss or loss of appetite. 5. Cognitive slowdown or sudden forgetfulness. 6. Loss of sense of purpose or hopelessness. 7. Frequent hospitalizations or infections. These aren't just medical checklists. They're whispers from the body and mind, soft warnings asking us to look closer, listen harder, and act sooner. So now, I want to hear from you. Which of these signs have you seen, in yourself, or someone you care about? Let us know in the comments below. Your story might help someone else feel a little less alone tonight. And if this video gave you clarity, comfort, or even just a little more understanding, consider subscribing. Here at Elderly Wisdom Guide, we're building something special. A space where aging isn't ignored, feared, or sugar-coated. But respected. Valued. Loved. Because you matter. Your story matters. And we're walking this path with you, one day, one video, one heartfelt conversation at a time. So, thank you, truly, for being here. Thank you for caring. Thank you for choosing awareness over avoidance. Stay strong. Stay compassionate. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.